when you're involved in a critical incident in law enforcement, they put you on workers' comp. Now you have to go to the workers' comp doctors.
Who want to try to get you back to work.
They work for the town, and they're trying to get you back to work as soon as possible. Whether you're ready to or not, you're like a notch in their belt. If they get you back to work, yep, got another one to go back.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
I don't want to say it goes with the territory, but really, it goes with the territory.
This is going to sound really, and I hate to use this word because, sorry, Mark, sorry, Nick, this is going to sound really gay. Okay? For me, I think the best reaction that my spouse could have given at the time was just to come over and just some comfort, a hug.
Sympathetic ear, like I said.
Let's not talk.
Yeah.
Let's not talk. Let's
sympathetic shoulder.
Yeah, a shoulder to cry on, and let you really break down. Because bottom line is, when you're in that place, you feel out of control. You feel unsafe.
Alone.
I mean, you are out in the middle of the desert with no food, no water, and nothing else in sight. You don't know what the hell you're going to do. You just want to dig a hole and bury yourself. So, spouses out there, it's a tough situation because I just think the right way to react is make them feel safe. Make them feel loved. Make them feel that they're not alone. You may not be successful every time.
By them getting mad, only makes you madder.
Oh, it just escalates the situation.
Well, like you said, and thank you, Drew. You've been emasculated at that point.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I had my uniform taken from me in our command post. My gun taken from me.
Your second penis.
Yeah. Your penile extension. Now you don't know if you have your job anymore. Everything's up in the air.
Everything changes.
Everything changes.
And change is very scary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially, when you're in a career that you love doing, now you don't know if that career is going to be there anymore.
Right.
You don't know if you're going to be effectively able, even if you do keep your career, are you going to be effective in your career? Is it going to change you forever?
Both legally and in your performance.
Yeah.
In the case of you, I mean, it was different with me, but in the case of your shooting, there was legal issues.
Oh, yeah.
There was ability issues. There was mental faculty issues. So there was a myriad of different things.
Like we said, going back to a debriefing. You know what my debriefing was? We talked about it in the command post a little bit that night. That day, like I said, mine happened at 2:27 in the morning. So the rest of that day, we really didn't do anything. The following day, mine was September 16th at 2:27 in the morning. So the 16th, I had nothing to do all day. The 17th, we met with our attorney. The 18th, we had to go to state police, Totowa, and give our statements. The 18th was the day that my department scheduled cop to come in. So I go up, I give my statement. I come back to my department. Guys from cop to cop were walking out already. I missed the whole cop to cop issue. And, I saw them in the parking lot. They gave me their cards, and they said, if you need anything, call us. And that was it.
Damn.
Went up to my chief's office and sat down and talked to him, and like I said, it was like I can't get on my department because mine was the first fatal police shooting in department history. So they really didn't know what to do. They had to learn from that.
Mine, ours wasn't fatal. He was shot, but he wasn't killed. We did have a fatal prior to that. And again, we worked in small suburban departments. It's not like the movies where people are getting shot and killed all the time. It doesn't work like that. But there are critical incidents. What was the worst you think that the beast came out of you? What was the worst time, if you had to recollect one of them?
Well, there are times, and listen, the beast could always rear its ugly head. It probably wasn't like right then, but like a few years later, when my son got into my face in my house about something, and I snapped. I told him, get the fuck out of my face. I said, I'll knock your teeth down your throat. I said, nobody gets in my face in my house. It was my own son. It hurts me to this day. I didn't want to do it. I didn't mean to do it. But, like you said before, we went from to rage.
Did it ever happen with your wife? Your ex-wife?
The arguments were a lot worse after that.
What I'm saying is that incident with your son, was there ever anything similar with your ex-wife?
Oh, we've had a lot of screaming and yelling matches after that, which we did have arguments before, don't get me wrong, but the arguments just got worse and worse. I never really, I would never lift a hand to any of them, but there were times where I just stormed out of the house and just went out and got myself a hotel room. I just had to get out of there.
The reason I'm bringing that up is because my wife and I have had similar arguments. Because my worst is very similar to you, except my son was 3 years old. We had similar arguments where things got really superheated. But those aren't the ones that affected me the most. That's not the worst of the beast. When it should be on par, but for some reason it's not. I guess maybe because they're adults or it's your son or your daughter or whoever it is, and you're always worried about affecting them down the line. But I think it's a big mistake on our part.
Well, yeah, without doubt.
To not seeing the damage that we did to our spouses.
Like you said, it's not the main reason that I got divorced, but it's definitely a reason because I wasn't the same person anymore.
No, you're different. You're different. And, it wasn't bad luck that you were there, by the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad luck. You were there. You needed to be there for whatever reason, whatever purpose, and only you can say
whether you believe in God and say God put you there or you were there for a reason.
You were in the right place at the right time. I say that about myself. My worst, I punched holes in walls. I broke about every bedroom door with a fist. I threw chairs across the kitchen. That one was bad. I picked a chair up. We had bar stool, not bar, but bar height chairs, and I picked it up and I threw it right across, broke the chair in a million pieces. I've broken lamps. I've thrown remotes at my wife. I've spit at my wife. I've called her every name in a book. And this is going to sound really horrible, but they were bad. They were bad, and they affected me, but never as bad. And I've told this one before. My son, shortly after the shooting, pointed a toy gun at me, and I lost it. I grabbed the gun. You know that maneuver where somebody's pointing a gun, you flip it around? I did that to him.
Training kicks right in.
Instinct. Snapped it in two, threw it in the garbage, and went and lived in the woods for 3 days. Because I recognized if I don't get out of here, the beast is going to continue to grow.
That's what I said. Well, I wouldn't go live in the woods. That's why I went and stayed in a hotel overnight.
I'm too cheap to go stay in a hotel. That's the bottom line. I'm just way too cheap.
Put on a family credit card.
Yeah. But the beast comes out in all different ways and all different fashions. And it doesn't even have to be a police-involved incident. Like if I could theorize, if a woman goes through a traumatic incident like a rape or something, well, the next guy that she gets close to, or her husband,
he's in for it.
He's in for it. She's going to get triggered like that, and it's going to be done. There's
like I said, God forbid a woman ever gets raped. She has that trauma from that. And now she's with her partner, and one thing leads to another, and they start having consensual sex. Could be a trigger in there that sets her off. It could happen to a guy too. I'm just saying, a woman could get that trigger also and take it out on her partner.
And perpetuate the violence that she incurred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even someone who gets robbed, you get held up at gunpoint on the street or something like that. That person's going to go, they're going to have issues also.
And the next time they see somebody that even remotely
looks like them,
their stuff's, they're grabbing onto their wallet. They're making sure everything's there. Or they're shying away from everything.
Maybe even running to the other side of the street.
Unfortunately, it's wrongly viewed as a lot of the time it's wrongly viewed as racist or discriminatory against a certain, when not really. Maybe they have some sort of past trauma.
Yeah.
But that's the bottom line is we all don't know what is going to trigger that beast, what's going to bring that beast out, because we don't know each other.
And it could be nothing.
Yeah.
It could be nothing that triggers it. It's just you feel that mood start coming on, and you just got to get through that mood and get to the other side.
You know, at those worst times that you talked about, especially going back to that incident with your son, you said you went out and you got a hotel room?
Yeah, I believe I did that night.
All right. So did it calm? How long did it take to calm down and recage that beast?
Probably about a 12-pack.
Yeah. A few Klonopin, some 12
Yeah,
pack.
and that's not the right answer either.
No, because
No,
it's
that's
just
not the right
numbing
answer.
it.
It's just numbing it. You know, you're prolonging the agony. You know, you're dulling the pain. Now the next thing you're going to wake up the next morning with the same pain and a hangover.
And now you got double shit.
Yeah, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Now you got to go home with your tail between your legs, half hungover.
Did you ever get to the point where you think the beast isn't going to go away?
Oh yeah, there've been plenty of times. A lot of times it was at night.
This is my normal.
When you lay down, yeah, I used to call it the new norm. You know, this is my new normal. You know, when you lay down at night and your head starts spinning and you start thinking about things, that's why I said, and I've said it here before, I mean, at no time was I ever suicidal. I never wanted to kill myself, but I went to bed almost every night for a while. Not hoping I died, but saying if I don't wake up tomorrow morning, it probably wouldn't be such a bad thing.
So it's one of the reasons, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's one of the reasons I am a fan of the Incredible Hulk genre, especially now after my incident. So there's been
Because the Incredible Hulk reminds you of me. That's why you're... I understand.
the
I
incredible,
understand completely.
the incredible doofus. No, but so Bruce Banner actually...
Dr. Banner, isn't it?
Dr. Banner.
Dr. Banner.
Dr. Banner. Tries to kill himself on several different occasions because he feels that he can never control the beast, even no matter what he does. And he goes through deep breathing. If you watch any of the movies, there's all different types of theories. Deep breathing, you know, therapy, or whatever mechanism of coping that he has. He tries and tries and tries, and he fails every time. Until he realizes what his trigger is, what makes his blood pressure start to rise, and then sort of brings it down a little bit. Sort of brings it down. But he's tried to take his life several times because he thinks it's never going away, and that was me.
You know, and that is like a perfect, I guess you could call it, analogy of going through this beast, this what we'll refer to as post-traumatic stress beast. When Dr. Banner turns into the Hulk, that's that rage coming out inside of us. You know, his came out different because it was a Hollywood thing, but that was the rage that was coming out inside of us.
It's a perfect metaphor for what we went through.
Yeah, without doubt.
It is an absolute perfect metaphor because there are times in our lives, maybe not recent, but there are times in our lives where it was okay to release the beast, where it was good to release the beast. You know, you on the football field.
Yeah.
How many times you heard that one? Release the beast.
Yeah.
Release the beast. You wanted to be
You wanted
that
to release
monster,
the beast on a football field. Yeah.
right? And that's what I teach my kids now. I said, you got problems or something. You got the perfect outlet to get it out. Something's going wrong in your life. Something's happening in school. Girl doesn't like you. Your friends are being jerks. Release it on the football field. And guess what? You will feel better after you release it. Releasing the beast for us now, though, it came, it's a long time coming. You know, where we're not so much releasing the beast, we're just letting him go.
Yeah, we're letting them go or we're controlling them.
How do you think we I know how I did it, but how did you learn to control a little bit?
Like I said, my big thing was finding that safe place for you. Yeah. You know, my safe spot was either going to the gym or going out running.
What about therapy? See, therapy did a lot for me.
It all depends on which therapist you go to. Here we go.
Not every therapist is suited. And that's a very important point. Just because they have a therapist
a sheepskin on the wall that says
Yeah.
I'm a doctor.
Or I'm a therapist, whatever. Doesn't mean that they are well suited for your particular trauma.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we both went to one who had no idea about anything in law enforcement. Had no clue.
I went to one that everybody said was a bad therapist. Comp sent me to her. It was a female, but I had already been retired by the time they sent me to her, so the pressure was off of her. And she was a completely different type of person from what other people have described for me. So, are they bad doctors, or are they just beholden to a system that doesn't give a shit about you? I don't know. This one doctor that we're talking about, he doesn't even deserve to. He doesn't even deserve to have practice. He should be bagging groceries.
See, that's the thing. When you're involved in a critical incident in law enforcement, they put you on workers' comp. Now you have to go to the workers' comp doctors
Who want to try to get you back to work.
they work for the town, and they're trying to get you back to work as soon as possible. Whether you're ready to or not, you're like a notch in their belt. If they get you back to work, yep, got another one to go back.
And if they don't, pay me.
Yeah, pay me. You're getting paid anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they'll listen. If the guy is, he'll. I mean, this one guy, he kept bringing me back for session after session after session because he was getting paid.
That same guy dropped me when I went to rehab.
Yeah.
That same guy. I called him on my way down to rehab. I checked myself in, said, hey, I'm not going to make it. I got to check myself into rehab. I got a real problem. They didn't let us have our cell phones in rehab. A day later, I go and check my voicemail. Nothing. I check myself out of rehab because it scared the shit out of me. And I check nothing. 2 days later, I get a message from him. It says, yeah, I can't see you anymore because you're not listening to what I say. Listening to what you say? I'm drinking a fifth and a half of tequila every day, and you're doing nothing. Are you serious? Like, what the fuck did you do for me besides rile me up?
I was going to say that. I mean, that probably added to the beast by going to someone that is supposed to help you and they're not helping you.
They're making it worse.
That's when, like, when you get that feeling that you're never going to get out of that hole.
You're like, fuck, a doctor can't help me.
Yeah, I'm going to a doctor that's supposed to help me and I'm getting nothing.
Then we meet our group. Dr. Steph's Dented Misfits.
His misfits.
Yeah. The most fucked up conversations I've ever had in my life happened in that room in Verona, New Jersey. But boy, it's the first time I felt normal.
Because we were around people that were as fucked up as we were. So it gave us some sense of normalcy.
I remember guys showing up, and I think it was before you got there. Guys showing up. And one guy I'll just say his first name. His name is Andy. He shows up one day, and he's got this look on his face. It's like he didn't know what to say. There was so much shit going wrong in his life. He's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. By the time he left, he was back to normal. He was back. That's a power group.
Well, I wouldn't say normal. He was back to some sort of normal state.
Functional.
Yeah, he was functional.
He was
because we weren't functional in the beginning.
No.
And that was a scary thing to me too, because people are like, oh, you know, I had one friend of mine who he was involved in a similar situation. He's like, you got to get back on a horse and start riding again. It scared the shit out of me. So I'm like, I'm not ready to. You know, what happens if the same situation presents itself? What do I do? If I hesitate and I get killed, fuck it, I ain't here to worry about it. If I hesitate and someone else gets killed, I'm not ringing a doorbell saying I fucked up and daddy's dead. You know, it scared the shit out of me. And it just so happened, 6 months later, if I was back to work, 6 months later, we had the second shooting in Lyndhurst history. And it was going to be my squad that was working. I could have been involved in 2 shootings in 6 months.
Do you ever have nightmares about going back?
Oh, yeah. I still do.
Yeah, I do too.
Still do.
Or I'm going back to work for the first day. You know that trepidation you have going to any job for the first day? That's the nightmares I get back now.
I had nightmares where I was involved in another shooting again, and it wasn't really a clean shooting.
Did you ever have dreams about the beast?
No, not really. You know, it's just, like I said, my nightmares really just consisted of not being able to do something. You know, like I said, we talked about You know, how many times did you have a dream that you were in a shooting and the bullet just fell out of the gun? You know, like you see on the cartoons all the time, or the bang flag comes out. You know, and that's when you wake up in a cold sweat. My sheets, I've never washed my sheets that many times in my life.
Yeah, you've never washed your sheets.
I don't have to wash them.
But I had a dream like that. I had a dream like that where I started feeling that rage, and I just started getting angry, and there was people holding me back. And it's very, like, if I'm looking at it now, it's very metaphorical. People were holding me back, and you know, the veins are popping out of your neck. You're just screaming, "Let me go, you son of a bitch." And they're holding, and I can't, you know that feeling. Like, you can't move because they're holding you back. And all you want to do is just go and explode. But those people, what I realize now is those people holding me back are the ones that saved me from killing somebody.
I had a dream just the other night that my arms were, I don't remember all my dreams, but I remember my arms were stuck and I couldn't get out.
I'm just picturing you with your arms stuck.
Yeah, I forget what they were stuck in, but it was like I couldn't get them out. And I kept fighting, and I'm like shaking. I'm trying to fight. And I woke up in the middle of the dream, and I threw the sheets. My arms finally got free. I threw the blankets up in the air and everything. Woke up and like I said, I'm talking within the last 2 weeks. My shooting happened in 2014.
You think the beast is ever going to leave us?